Hello everyone, I'm Alonso del Barrio and I was Junior Fellow at IDIAP Research Institute in Switzerland, as Daniel said. And I was coming from the Polytechnic University of Madrid, and I'm going to talk about NLP applied to articles on COVID-19 vaccination in European newspapers. To put you in context, the World Health Organization coined the term infodemic as the overexposure of information, including false or misleading information in digital and physical environments during the disease outbreak. And significant research on misinformation has been conducted since the beginning of the pandemic, covering information on various issues, such as the origin of the coronavirus or the content of the vaccines. While the existing research sets lights on many key aspects of COVID-19 disinformation and how to tackle it, researchers have also emphasized the need of understanding the full information ecosystem. And this understanding needs to include the examination of existing high-quality media outlets, which have played a key role during the pandemic period. So our work has tried to combat disinformation from a different approach, analyzing the ecosystem and trying to define how news is disseminated in Europe on a common topic in a way that can shed more light on the characteristics that define high-quality press. We have posed two research questions. The first one consists of trying to define a form of analyzing the main characteristics and perceptions of the news in each country. And the second one is to see if there are differences between countries when analyzing news on a common topic in Europe. So let's start by explaining the data used. We constructed from scratch a dataset of European news articles about COVID-19 vaccination in 5 countries: France, UK, Switzerland, Italy, and Spain. And we obtained the authorization of 90 newspapers to extract the content of the online news. This includes 6 newspapers from France, 2 from the United Kingdom, 3 from Switzerland, 2 from Italy, and 6 from Spain. And this set of newspapers includes a combination of major European newspapers with national and international circulation, and of regional newspapers with more limited circulation. And some of the newspapers in our dataset have very wide audience, such as Le Monde, Corriere della Sera, or ABC. And we have more than 50,000 articles in 4 different languages, and we have also translated all the content into English. So once we had the data, we had to start with the first research question, and that was to try to define a pipeline with different NLP-based analysis techniques. The first of them is name entity recognition. The aim of this analysis was to identify individuals who were the most frequently named, as well as the most often named organizations, including the different vaccine brands or the cities and countries that appear most frequently in the articles of each country. For this task, we used the Spacey library, which is a free open source library for advanced NLP in Python. The second objective was to detect subtopics within the common topic of COVID vaccination. And we have used per topic, understanding and embedding as a vector. This we first convert the text into a vector, into numbers, and then we reduce the size of the vector and group the vectors that have similar values So in this way, we are grouping articles that cover similar topics. And then we extracted the words that define these groups. So each subtopic is defined by a series of words, okay? Finally, we wanted to define the sentiment in the news about COVID vaccination. And we have performed a three-level analysis at headline level, at article level, and at sentence level. Headlines have a key importance in a digital article as they motivate readers to click on a news item. And we extracted the percentage of positive, negative, and neutral headlines for each country. At article level, we analyzed the sentence by sentence sentiment for each article and extracted the percentage of positive, negative, and neutral sentences for each of them. And finally, at sentence level, we extracted the number of positive, negative, and neutral sentences containing any of the words that define a subtopic. Once we have defined the pipeline, let's see the results that we have obtained. And if there are differences between countries. We have applied name entity recognition in each country, and here there are the most name entities of each country. Among the most named people are the top health officer of each country, the president of the government, and the president of the United States. In terms of organizations, the top entities are the European Union, the World Health Organization, and the pharmaceutical companies that have developed the main vaccines. And in terms of places, each country names more frequently its own country and several local cities, so it makes sense. Here are the general results regarding the sentiment of the articles in the different countries concerned. We observed that all countries have similar percentage of positive and negative sentences, around 16, 21% for negative, and 4-6% for positive, as well as headlines, 18, 25% for negative and 2-4% for positive. From this table, we can draw two conclusions. The first is that there is more negative content than positive. And the second is that the predominant tone is neutral, although it doesn't appear in the table. In this table are a couple of examples of subtopics, European Union and no vax. We wanted to present the sentiment on each subtopic in each country at all three levels. The values are ratios between the percentage of negative sentiment and the percentage of positive sentiment. And we have marked in red those ratios greater than 5, meaning that there is much more negative sentiment than positive. And in green, those ratios where positive sentiment is greater than negative sentiment, okay? So regarding the interpretation of the results, in the case of the European Union, we see that the headlines about the European Union have a very negative tone in almost all countries. And if we look at the results at the sentence level, we see that the United Kingdom has a very negative ratio, and one could hypothesize this to be linked to the intention of UK press to mark differences with Europe due to its recent exit from the European Union. In the case of the anti-vaccine movement, we see a lot of red at all levels of analysis, which means that the tone is very negative, and this could be explained by the fact that there has been a strong opposition to anti-vaccine groups, and the press has sought to promote vaccination as a solution to the pandemic situation. And we have also analyzed various topics such as the economy, education, the Olympic Games. So to see the results in more detail, I invite you to read the paper that we did. Another of the analysis we wanted to study is how the newspapers of each country talk about their respective governments. We extracted those articles that name the president or the prime minister and the health minister of each country. And the results are shown in this table. In general, we can see that there is a negative sentiment, which could be interpreted as a criticism of the government management of the vaccination in particular, and of COVID-19 in general. And headlines tend to be more negative. We have analyzed the articles that deal with the main vaccine brands, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and Moderna. And looking at the colors to go faster, we see that Pfizer and AstraZeneca had a positive tone, while, Pfizer and Moderna had a positive tone, while AstraZeneca has a more negative tone. And it's known that it has been a bit more controversial brand and has had a more negative publicity. Finally, we turn to the conclusions drawn from this work. The pipeline of entity and subtopic identification and sentiment analysis, which we have used in our work, allows us to present those characteristics that define high quality press in Europe, and also to compare the results across the different countries involved. We can affirm that a neutral tone predominates in the quality press, proof of this search for objectivity, although the tone is more negative than positive, given that human beings pay greater attention to negative news. And we have seen several examples of negative tone, especially at the level of headlines, because they seek to attract attention. Finally, we can conclude that despite having a dataset made up of European countries that present a great cultural difference marked by language, the results between countries have followed a homogeneous trend in terms of sentiment analysis. Moreover, significant differences have only been appreciated in the analysis of identities, where the local component associated with each country is defined. So that's all. Thank you so much for your attention.